Hi, Caleb with Brownells here. In today's video, I want to go over the top 5 AR-15 upgrades for your new AR-15. Now, this video is kind of geared towards the new AR-15 owner, or new shooter in general, but I think you experienced guys can get something out of it too, so stick around. So the first upgrade we're going to go over is going to be optics. Now, I'm not going to get into any brand specifics here on any of the upgrades we're going over. I'm just going to go over general types to help you choose what may be best for you. So the cheapest option itself is going to be just basic iron sights. So if you look at this rifle here, underneath the optic, I have my front sight and I have my rear sight. So you can get anything from the less expensive plastic Magpul Imbus sights that work great. That's a great option, or you can spend a little bit more and get something like this Knights Armament front or arms rear. But either way, a good set of iron sights is a really good starting point, even if you plan on getting an optic further down the road. Now, speaking of optics, we have a LPVO here, which is a low power variable optic, which is magnified. So this is right here is 1:8 on this one. And then we have just a standard red dot. So again, there's tons of different brands and stuff out there you guys can choose from. So just pick something that's in your price range, and that's a really good starting point. It's a really good thing to put on your new AR-15. So if yours is a flat top like this, which most are nowadays, you can just throw the optic right on there. If you have a carry handle, you have to get a special mount for it. Things get a little bit tricky there. If not, don't worry about it. Most of them are flat top. Just throw it on, set it, forget it, you're good to go. If your upper receiver is a little more old school and is something like this here, you can still put the optic on there. Just know that you'll kind of have to look around this front sight. It's not going to inhibit you from using an optic. You don't have to remove it, but just know it will be there. And on lower magnifications or no magnification optics, it does tend to be in the way sometimes. So just kind of be aware of that. So moving on to upgrade number 2. And I'll say that in these upgrades as well, I've kind of chosen them because there's little to no gunsmithing involved. We could go through every single part on this AR-15. There's an upgrade for every single part, but we're not going to do that here. So the next one's going to be the trigger. So this is something a lot of shooters really benefit from, is upgrading their trigger. A stock basic mil-spec AR-15 trigger, they tend to be pretty gritty in some cases. Some companies have some really nice ones. A lot of companies don't. It's just a standard mil-spec trigger. It's not made to be, super smooth, super good, super crisp. But you can actually spend just a little bit more and get a what some manufacturers call like a military plus, or the standard upgraded trigger. And those aren't very expensive, but they offer a really good trigger pull variation from just your standard basic mil-spec trigger for not a lot of money. Or you can go all out and get something crazy. There's a ton of options there, but the second thing you should be looking at is definitely your trigger. And then the third thing we're going to talk about here, and something that gets overlooked a lot on new AR-15s, but is something really easy to change and really beneficial, is the grip itself. So this is the basic mil-spec A2 style grip that comes on a lot of AR-15s out the box. The angle on it is pretty significant to the rear for a lot of collapsible stock type shooting. And if you'll notice here on this gun right here, we have the upgraded Magpul one. Has a little bit different angle on it. The texture upgrade's different. Has a pocket in the bottom to store stuff. That's just a really good upgrade overall, especially with that beaver tail extension that comes around the back. It's just really ergonomic. And a lot of shooters really benefit from that upgrade as well for those reasons. Getting a comfortable grip on your gun can definitely make you a better shooter, because if it's more comfortable to hold onto your gun, you're going to be able to shoot that gun better. It's as simple as that. And then moving on from there, just back of that, upgrade number 4 is going to be the stock. So a lot of your lower end AR-15s out the box, and when I say lower end, I just mean not upgraded, not necessarily a lower end manufacturer. They're going to come with your basic mil-spec stock as well. So this basic mil-spec stock is just that. It's just a chunk of plastic with a really aggressive texture on there. A steel sling loop on the back, and then means to adjust it. That's it. So for adjustable stocks, that's your standard mil-spec one. I mean, it works, but it's easy to upgrade and get some really good benefits out of your stock. So take this Magpul for example. This one's not very expensive. It's nice and streamlined. You have a nice rubberized butt pad. You have some loops cut in here for slings as well. And then you can even go so far as to upgrade to something like this B5 right here. This one has QD inserts, rubberized butt pad, extended cheek piece. Magpul does make one similar to this one as well. Both companies do. But this is a really good style of upgrade. B5 is one of my favorite stock upgrades for the AR-15 for that reason. Getting that good cheek weld and having that rubberized butt pad so that your gun's not slipping while you're actually shooting makes a huge difference over just this standard mil-spec one. So that's number 4 you should definitely be looking into. And this is the carbine version. There are rifle versions out there. If you have a rifle stock, there are similar upgrades for that as well. So go ahead and check out those. Now, the last upgrade I want to talk about is kind of a tricky one because it may or may not require some gunsmithing depending on what you have. So a lot of AR-15s nowadays, fortunately, actually come with free float handguards on them, like this one right here. So this one is free floated past the gas block. You notice our gas block is this piece underneath the handguard here. And for a little compare and contrast, this front sight is our gas block on this one. So this one's tucked nice up underneath the handguard. Everything's smooth and streamlined. It's M-LOK, so we can mount accessories anywhere on here. This one's made by Midwest Industries. This is what I would consider a really good setup on this one. This is a nice streamlined handguard. Now, this is your standard mil-spec carbine style setup. There's no way to really attach anything to this one. And you have your front sight up here that's kind of, just up there and in the way. And if you want to upgrade from this, there's some really good options you can do without any gunsmithing. For example, Magpul makes this MOE handguard, and this one, you actually just, what you'll do is pull back this ring here, these two pieces of plastic will come off, then you'll just snap on this Magpul one. And then with this, you're able to attach accessories. You have M-LOK slots here, so you can put a foregrip or whatever you want on there, make it a little more ergonomic for you. You can also go so far as to get something like this Daniel Defense quad rail to mount on there, and this again just takes the place of the plastic. And then you can mount on the top, sides, and bottom, so you can put lights, lasers, whatever you want on here and be good to go without doing any gunsmithing. This clamps right onto there. Now, of course, you can, strip all that off, change out the gas block, put a free float handguard on there, but to do that, you also need to change out your barrel nut. I know this is a beginner video, so that sounds like something that's a little more involved. It is something that's a little more involved, so we're not going to get into that here, but just know that is an option as well. But the Magpul or the Daniel Defense, Midwest Industries makes some good drop-ins as well. So there's a ton of options out there, and they're relatively inexpensive. So keep that in mind. So that was the top 5 upgrades for your AR-15. There's a lot we didn't get into here. I know we could talk about, charging handles, selector levers, barrels, bolts, all that stuff. But if you bought a decent AR-15 from the factory that you want to upgrade, these are the 5 things that you should be looking at first. Chances are you have a decent barrel, you have a decent bolt carrier group. You don't really need to worry about any of that stuff. I know the internet's telling you otherwise, but forget about it. So, I want to throw a wild card at you. Number 6. Upgrade number 6. And that's you. You should be working on yourself. If you have the opportunity to do so, take some training classes. If not, just get out to the range, train, learn some drills. There's a ton of them out there on YouTube. There's some free resources out there on a lot of training websites that trainers post. So go run those. Get in shape. Do something with your AR-15. Work on yourself. Number 6 is actually a free upgrade. So there you have it. So, there's my wild card. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.